Doglapan. This book by Ashneer Grover taught me these 7 lessons which have been life changing for me entirely. I am someone who has watched almost all of the episodes of Shark Tank India, and Ashneer, being in the first season itself, was someone whom everyone looked up to just because of his witty nature, being very upfront about whatever he wanted and whatever he wanted to convey. Reading this book is a must for people like me who wish to know about the life journey of Ashneer and how he built up Bharat Pay, the way he worked on Grofers and grew them into such big companies today. Overall, I really liked the way he has narrated it, especially beginning from his childhood days and how he eventually came up to Madhuri, who was from a rich Baniya family, and Ashni being from a very middle class family. So actually, you start gaining more of interest in this book after almost the second half, wherein he meets Madhuri and then tries to impress her and does everything on earth possible in order to get married to her, and a lot of things going on, and then working on Kotak in Bharat Pay, and working on it heads on. So overall, I really liked that. I think at some points it's a bit more exaggerated, just because we are actually watching or reading this book from a one person point of view, but overall you will just love it. So it actually took me almost 15 days to finish this because an avid reader, but because of my work and all, I do not have much time to read it all in one go, although I wanted to read it. But it took me almost 15 days, and I almost read 10 to 15 pages every day because I didn't want to miss out on it, and I was very consistent with reading this particular book just because it was coming from Ashneer, and I think one of my friends had recommended this, and yeah, I'm just very grateful to have come across this particular book. Here are my 7 learnings from this particular book, and the first one is a job can never make you rich. Ashneer worked for 9 years of his life at a job, and even after that, he says that a job can never make you rich just because of the fact that if you want to do something big in life, you will have to do it on your own, and a job basically puts you in a comfort zone, and also the amount of money you can make out of it is not much possible for you to live a very rich life. So it's very much recommended that if you want to become very rich in life, it's needed to start with a business. And the thing is that you can scale it to good heights, you can make more money out of it, you can invest in it, you can take it to as much high as much as possible with your hard work. I so far agree with him just because I've been in the corporate rut, and I honestly didn't like it because of a lot of factors, starting from being micromanaged, having bossy people, people who are always ready to pull you down, and a lot of stuff. So I feel that it's needed, that if you have a very big vision for life, if you want to do something very big in life, you need to do something of your own out of your comfort zone, and that only happens when you leave your job and do something of your own. It could be entrepreneurship, it could be anything which puts you out of your comfort zone and you do not have that safety factor with you. So taking risks is something which eventually helps you go a lot way ahead. 2, spend time with rich people. As Indian parents advise us to stay away from rich kids, being near whom, we always think of or have that feeling that we cannot afford things which they do, and it eventually brings that sense of inferiority complex in us. But Ashneer says that this is eventually a good thing, because if you send your child or they play or spend some time with rich people, they may eventually develop that hunger of being able to afford the things which rich people can, and eventually that hunger can grow up in a way that they can become more self-independent or do something big in life in order to be able to afford that kind of luxury in life, which they actually crave for. So I think that makes a lot of sense, because even me studying from a premium school, which not many parents could afford their child to send to, but my parents did, even though they couldn't afford to. And then when I used to observe these rich kids coming up to school with so many luxurious kind of, very premium products bringing in and a lot of stuff, and I think that has in a way put up in my subconscious mind that even I have to work hard in order to get rich and be able to match that kind of level of these kids. And I think that's a positive way of looking at life, basically challenging our own beliefs of staying in a pot and the closed mindset. 3. Don't be a one man army. Yes, I couldn't agree more with this. The only reason is that no matter how much you know that you are willing to do this particular thing, if you want to make your business big or make something very big, you will have to work with a team on it, and then only things go in your way. Of course, the energy gets very much multiplied when a lot of people are focused on making that particular goal happen, and eventually it all compiles up. So I feel alone you can definitely start, you can definitely take it to a particular level, but if you want to scale it up, you will need to delegate your redundant tasks and focus on only the tasks which matter the most to you. So in this way you also help in employability, and the second thing is you can eventually focus on the important tasks and avoid that kind of burnout, because no matter how much you love your work, if you get overworked, if you become, working to 24/7 into it, you will get exhausted, and that's pretty much not good. And number 4, your customer comes first. Always remember that before your employees, before your staff, before your team, before even you, your customer comes first. If your customer is satisfied with the kind of services or the work you do, eventually everything falls in place. So it all boils down to the fact that how much your clients or your customers are happy with the kind of work you do, and that makes eventually the entire team happy, because if the end product is good, if the end product is what matters, is what makes sense to people, then you know that the system is all at the right place and you can take it forward. So you will have to eventually make your way with the fact that when you work in a team, there will be people with diverse kind of ideas, and they will be putting all of those up, and eventually you will have to resolve all of them while taking the work ahead. And you will have to be fine with your team taking a piece before even you, and you have to be happy with whatever is left after that. So that's something which you need to consider. Ask yourself the particular questions. Are you ready to work with them for the long term? And the final question, am I excited enough with whatever is left after they have taken a piece? So these are some very crucial questions which will help you answer whether or not you are reliant or ready to be the green flag while working in a team, and taking your team to have a longer vision and work together for the longest term. And if your answer goes no to any of these questions, it's time to reconsider your thoughts and understand and observe the kind of work you do, whether or not you micromanage when people come up to you. I eventually did that when I started with my own work, and eventually I went ahead to the fact that firstly I have to tell them, explain them the entire system, and explain them the entire how the things work, and then let them take their time in order to get into the things and eventually make it happen. I cannot be very much impatient about getting everything 100% from the first day itself. The fifth one, put your family first. Now, if you know that in the US, what parents do is that they kick out their children after they have turned 13 for them to be able to stand on their own feet, do things on their own, learn things, and eventually grow up. But what Ashneer says is, no matter what you do in life, always have your parents by your side, because eventually, even if things do not work out for you, you will have your family by your side. They will never leave your side no matter what. That eventually helps you boost your self esteem a lot. You know that you have someone to rely on always, and that also diminishes that feeling of emptiness which comes up when you are constantly working on your dreams, because it's also needed to balance your personal life eventually. And it happens when you are so much pumped up to work on your goals, you will leave your personal life somewhat behind, and you will not much focus on self-care, um, reading, and spending time with your loved ones. So it's much needed to stay with your family, to take them and have them by your side always, in order to be able to balance out that kind of work-life pressure eventually. 6. Make new mistakes. There is nothing wrong with making mistakes, which is not the general notion. People think that making mistakes is the wrong thing, but that's not. As long as you keep making new mistakes, you have to be making newer mistakes, and always try to learn from the previous ones, because they always help you go ahead. If you keep repeating the older mistakes, which means you're not actually learning from them. So it's very much crucial for you to learn from your older mistakes, keep improving your work, have a vision for growth, and focus on bringing more your productivity up. And yes, making mistakes should never hold you back from taking big decisions or doing something which is out of your comfort zone. It should be in a way that you see, whatever comes my way, whatever God throws my way, I have to deal with it with all that I have in plate. I have to develop that kind of courage or strength in order to fight with whatever comes my way. And basically, this particular perspective has changed the way I see life. And yes, making mistakes is not a problem until you have a way for growth, until you have that scope for improvement always. And seventh one, be the first one to liquidate. Put yourself first. And as a founder, don't shy away from liquidating your stocks. Make a way for, the taxation and the finances and overall management, and that eventually balances a lot of problems that could be coming up your way. And I think these pretty much wind up about whatever I have learned in this book, and there's a lot more. These was just some of the outstanding things which I thought I need to bring up in my videos. There are some other outstanding points of this book, one of which is he has very well described the amount of money he has made at every work, job, and the bonuses, and how he eventually spent them. That's quite frank, and you can get to learn a lot about how people who are basically making it so big in life manage it that way. Yes, he has explained his relationship with his seniors at Amex, Grofers, Bharat Pay, and the firms in which he has eventually worked. That actually helps me understand a lot about how the things worked out in his favor, and why is he the way he is, his personality, and a lot of things. I think I got to learn a lot about that. And the most important one is explanation of how he made 22.5 crores in a single day through the Zomato IPO. It's all explained very well. You will be able to learn and understand a lot, and most of it will actually shock your mind because the numbers are very huge. They seem fancy, but they are the real life depictions of whatever has went with him. And his fundraising journey at Bharat Pay, and how he built it up as such a successful startup. And of course, the fact that he came to Shark Tank India, after which he got this particular limelight, wherein people started to know of him. And that was the time after which he released this particular book, which is why I don't know, but it feels like that's the reason we got to connect with this book a lot. I feel there was that Bharat Pay controversy around him resigning as a co-founder, and a lot of things which I think uh, became the core focus of people when they were reading this particular book. I still don't understand what was that about, but eventually after reading this, I took it in a positive way so that I could take up my learnings out of it. And eventually I hope you would also like it if in case you go ahead, because the book is worth reading. It's totally from the lens of how Ashneer sees life, how straightforward he is whenever he puts up his opinions, especially in Shark Tank. So it's as straightforward as he is. There is nothing which is sugar coated or something like that. And I really like his witty nature. He's very straightforward nature, and heads on being able to tackle challenges whenever those come his way. And I totally loved the journey he has had, and how he has built up such a good empire, and his work ethics, and a lot of things. So definitely give this a read. 10 on 10. I would highly recommend this to whoever is looking to expand their horizons around money, startups, finances, entrepreneurship. This is a must read. And thank you so much for watching.